All right, let's pull back the curtain on one of the most unforgettable characters from a true 80s sci-fi classic. Now, you probably think you know this guy, but there's a wild theory, a story hiding in plain sight that could honestly change everything you thought you knew.
You gotta love it. Ben Jabatuya, the brilliant but incredibly anxious assistant to Newton Crosby over at Nova Robotics. I mean, his whole way of talking, his constant state of panic, it made him an absolute fan favorite. He was that lovable, perpetually worried sidekick just trying to make it through the day without getting fired.
But here's a thought. What if that whole thing, the accent, the nervousness, even the name, was all just an elaborate act? What if the man we all know and love as Ben is actually a ghost, hiding from a past that almost landed him in a federal prison?
Okay, get ready for this, because here is the core of the theory. Ben Jabatuya is actually Vince Latello, the cocky, car-obsessed troublemaker from the 1985 movie My Science Project. And he's living under a brand new identity after a little incident with the US government involving alien technology.
I know. On one side, you've got Ben, a guy who seems to live in constant fear of losing his job. On the other, you've got Vince, a kid who thinks blowing up power lines is just the regular Tuesday. So, how could one possibly become the other? Well, let's break down the evidence.
So the very first clue is all about the way these two guys talk. The theory goes that for both of them, an accent isn't about where they're from, it's a performance. It's a shield. So first, let's talk about Vince. His whole tough guy, yo, I'm from Brooklyn thing, it's completely fake. He's a city kid stuck out in a small town, and he even admits he gets his personality from watching old TV shows. So right off the bat, we know he's already living behind a mask. If he's already faking one identity, faking another one isn't that big of a leap, right? Now, let's switch over to Ben. When Newton asks him that simple question, "Where are you from?" his answer is just bizarre. He doesn't name some faraway country that would match his accent. He says Bakersfield. And his ancestors? Pittsburgh. This isn't just a throwaway joke. For believers in this theory, this is the key that unlocks the whole mystery. So why are those two cities so important? Well, think about it. They fit Vince Latello's profile perfectly. After the government gets their hands on him and that alien tech, they're not going to send him back to his old neighborhood. No way. They're going to relocate him. Bakersfield, a pretty industrial, out-of-the-way town, is a perfect place to lay low. And Pittsburgh, the Steel City, that lines up perfectly with the blue-collar, mechanical, car nut background of a guy like Vince. Okay, let's move on to the second piece of evidence. And honestly, this might be the most convincing part of the whole thing. We're talking about the night and day difference in their personalities, especially when it comes to authority figures. I mean, Vince Latello has zero, and I mean zero, respect for authority. The guy breaks into military property for fun and talks about explosives like it's no big deal. Ben Jabatuya, on the other hand, is basically defined by his terror of authority. The slightest chance of getting in trouble, of losing his job, sends him into a total meltdown. So the question is, why would somebody change that dramatically?
Well, the theory says this isn't just a quirky personality. It's the result of some serious trauma. At the end of My Science Project, Vince gets caught by the government messing with incredibly dangerous alien technology. He would have been staring down some major prison time. His transformation into the rule-following, terrified Ben isn't just a character choice. It's the behavior of a man who got one last chance and is scared to death of blowing it.
Now, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, but how does a high school grease monkey end up working at a state-of-the-art robotics company? Well, funny enough, his very specific set of skills makes him the absolute perfect and maybe even the only person for the job. Look, Vince might not be a theoretical physicist, but the guy is a mechanical genius. He gets wiring, he gets power sources, he gets hardware. And, this is crucial, he is the only person who actually got that alien engine to work in My Science Project. The government wouldn't make him a head scientist, but they would absolutely place him at Nova Robotics, the defense contractor studying that tech, as a hands-on hardware guy. His job isn't to invent, it's to build. It's a perfect fit. Okay, for our final piece of the puzzle, even with a new name and a new accent, old habits die hard. And there are these little moments where the old Vince Latello seems to slip right through Ben's carefully crafted disguise.
When Newton and Ben decide they have to steal a van to go chase number 5, Ben says this really weird line. Think about it. Why would he add "in the US of A"? That phrasing heavily implies that he has stolen vehicles before, just not here. You know, maybe in his past life as Vince, the kind of delinquent who was totally fine breaking into military junkyards.
And then you've got this gem of a moment. While Newton is horrified, Ben is absolutely thrilled watching number 5 use its laser to fight off the soldiers. This is not the reaction of some timid lab assistant. This is the pure, unfiltered joy of Vince Latello, the kid who was obsessed with war movies and probably dreamed of being in a real firefight.
So when you put all of these pieces together, the fake accents, the total personality transplant, the transferable skills, and those little Freudian slips, a really clear and honestly compelling story starts to emerge.
Here's how it all probably went down. After all the chaos in my science project, the feds swoop in. They find this delinquent kid, Vince, who just so happens to be the only person with hands-on experience with their new alien toy. So they offer him a deal he can't possibly refuse: disappear and come work for us, or enjoy a long stay in prison. They give him a new name, a new backstory, a new accent to hide behind, and they plant him at Nova, right where they need his very unique expertise.
And this, right here, is the heart of the whole theory. Ben's constant nervousness isn't just played for laughs. It's the genuine, deep-seated fear of a man who is living a complete lie. A guy who is on his absolute last chance and knows that one wrong move could bring his entire world crashing down.
So, the next time you watch Short Circuit, you might not just see a quirky robotics assistant. You might actually see Vince Latello, a reformed delinquent who's paying his debt to society and just trying to survive. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other secret histories are buried just beneath the surface of the movies we know by heart?